AGM X2 Review. AGM is one of the forerunners in the crowded rugged mobile market and doesn't manufacture anything else. Will the innovations of the X2 be enough to fend off competition from the likes of the Doogee S60 or the Vernee Active? Read on to find out. Design. The AGM X2 is big. At 168.5 by 83.4 by 14 mm with a weight of 250 grams, it is one of the biggest ruggedized smartphones we've tested to date, and that's despite having a display that's the same size as most of its competitors, 5.5-inch. The argument for having a poor screen-to-body ratio is that in return you get more material around the fragile bits, that is the screen, to cushion any fall, and that's particularly noticeable at the top and bottom of the X2. A headphone socket and a Type-C USB port can be found at the bottom and top of the device, with a dedicated camera button and the volume rocker on the left, and the power button, SIM tray and the VUC sensor on the right. Specifications. It was the first device amongst challenger brands to sport 6 GB of RAM, LPDDR3, and 128 GB onboard storage. Being first meant having premium prices as well, which partly explains why it is twice as expensive as the Vernee Active. But that's not all. There are 3 cameras from Sony and Samsung here, along with a Samsung Full HD 5.5-inch AMOLED screen, a massive 6,000 mAh battery and the ability to run 2 SIM cards or 1 SIM card and 1 microSD card. There's also NFC support but oddly no 802.11 acres Wi-Fi, which is unacceptable for a device aspiring to be a top-end contender. Speaking of connectivity, other than Bluetooth 4.0, the X2 supports GPS, GLONASS and Beidou as well as all the main global bands, including the all-important B20 band. Note that, as mentioned, you won't be able to run 2 SIM cards with a microSD one. In use. The X2 performed consistently better than most of the MediaTek-powered ruggedized smartphones on the market. Indeed, benchmarking got a little ridiculous at times, with Threadmark Ice Storm Extreme failing to run on the Adreno 510 GPU saying that it's simply too powerful. As expected, this device runs Android 7.1 and has a few bundled apps like AGM Air, for the VUC sensor, and AGM Tools, which is a suite of, features that handymen, and women, might use, like a protractor, loop and so forth.